Welcome to Bleav in 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav in 76ers is presented by BetOnline.ag.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use promo code Bleav for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav in 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash here with the legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow and my brother Teja Dash. Guys, Harden has spoken. Got a lot to get into in this episode. It's Harden's first. Actually, I think this is Harden's first time talking since his whole China
Meyer speech.
Yeah, I believe so. I don't think he's done any media interviews since then. So yeah, lots to get into with this episode. How's everyone doing?
Doing good. Doing all right.
I feel it's gonna be a pretty heated episode with this whole Harden stuff. But we'll get right into it. So we could be nearing the end of the James Harden era in Philadelphia. Woj recently reported, quote, "The Clippers have spent the last couple of weeks talking to teams around the league about their own 2028 unprotected first-round pick and potentially maybe another pick swap. They had to see what value that was with other teams, and they expect the Clippers to go back to Philadelphia and Daryl Morey to run some of these scenarios by him and see if any of these trades interest them." He also reported that the Sixers want the assets to flip for an all-star level point guard, or guard, not point guard. Okay, so I got a couple questions for you guys. One, it sounds like trading Harden won't end the roster shaping for the Sixers, and I know people don't like calling it a punt season, but do you think we'll ever have a finished product this year? And then the other question, which is just a couple of things to get in your guys' head for this one. James Harden spoke to the media earlier and was asked if things could be repaired, and he said, quote, "No, this is not even about this situation. This is in life. When you lose trust in someone, it's like a marriage. You lose trust in someone, you know what I mean? It's pretty simple." He went on to say he's here at practice and will continue to be the professional he's been for 15 years. Fellas, what are your thoughts on this quote, and how difficult will it be to get James temporarily bought into what we got going on right now? So lots of.
What do you mean? What's your question?
We'll go back to the first question.
All right, we'll start with the first one. We'll start with the first one.
I want to, because I got somebody. I think his name started with T. That's going to say something interesting. What did you say now? I want to make it very clear.
We'll go to the first one and we'll tackle the hard quote.
One question at a time. Yes, one question at a time.
All right. Well, so we'll start with the first one. So with the so do you think we'll ever have a finished product this year on this team? The fact that we might want to flip the assets we get from Harden to get another guard, or will we sit on those assets we get and then wait till the offseason to trade? Do you think we'll ever have a finished product this year?
Yeah, I think once James is traded, I believe that what we get from that team will be who we are this year. I don't think picks will be moved. If picks are moved, it could go one of two ways. Either we're really, way worse than we thought we would be, or we are the top team in the league and we probably there's an injury or something, and you have to address it. That's the way I think. That's the only way I think if you get draft picks that you use them right now. I think you got to carry it over to next year with all the different cap stuff and the free agency and the salary cap space. I don't think you can make a move with that unless something critical happens that needs to be addressed immediately.
So by finished product, we need what to happen. So we need to trade Harden, most likely for assets. And then since no one's really available, Woj kind of talked about this the other day. He said this is a weird time of the season where a lot of guys aren't really available because, teams still have hopes for the season, everything you plan for. You don't know how good or bad you're going to be. So it's all we could do it this year, right? Everyone's got their hopes high. I guess you have to wait for the season to start. Certain teams to play not as good as what their teams thought they were going to play. Their hopes get crushed. Their fans give up. Pressure to management to blow it up, trading your best player with the largest salaries, who also fit with what we're looking for. That's a lot of factors, right? So yeah, I don't see that happening for a long time. That's way too many steps with like a week, 2 weeks to go before the season starts. And also because Morey's shown that he doesn't rush deals. So even if we get this done, let's say we get 2 first. Let's just say we get that. I think he sits on that for a while till he finds the next right move for the right price, for the right player that he wants to bring in for the long haul. Because again, like they've said for a long time, this next move is probably it. Not a Harden one, but the next team we make around Embiid will probably be it. Like that's what's going to have to be Embiid's supporting cast for the next 3-4 years. So they're going to take their time with every single move they have to make from here on out. So I guess it'd be fair to call it a transition season more than a punt season if they don't like that terminology. But I think the finished product is going to be kind of an unfinished roster for the season once we get rid of Harden.
Yeah. Like I can definitely see that. Like you said, there's just too many moves to be made before, like and also I did read that apparently that Brogdon was another guy they were contemplating, but they prefer Harden over Brogdon.
For now.
Yeah.
Which is also telling Philly, like, hurry up, because at some point, if we need a point guard that we want to bring in, I'm sure Portland will do it for 1 first, not 2. So although we want your guy, we're not going to wait forever because they have their own problems too. They have an aging team who are going to be mostly up for contract after the season.
I mean, you never know, though. It could be a smokescreen, too. Yeah, we're really interested in Brogdon. I mean, just throwing that out there. And also, apparently, in the report I read that they had offered more for Drew Holiday than we actually had offered.
Oh, I did not read that. That's interesting.
That was another report that came out, that the Clippers had offered more for Drew Holiday than we did.
Yeah, we don't have it.
Yeah.
That's why we need the Clippers trade, because we don't have assets.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we don't have the assets. Like that's what I don't understand. Like if we don't have any assets to do anything, then how are we not a finished product? If we can't make moves, we can't do anything. He's already came out and said by Tobias still being on the roster and Maxey not getting an extension tells you that we're a finished product for this season till next year. I don't know how you make any move and you won't do that. You won't re-up Maxey. Outside of Joel, he has to be priority number 1.
Yeah.
So if you don't address that, how can you say we're going to make a move? I just don't get it. Like I don't get how you can do that. So I don't know how they go in and make moves when you didn't address who you are deemed to have to be your number 2 option for the future.
Yeah, that's because they want the next move to be made for an all-star level guard, is what they said.
Well, he could be an all-star level guard.
Maxey.
Yes.
No. Yeah. They want to take the assets from Harden.
All-star level guard I'm saying the Pacers got an all-star level guard that he's on par with.
Yeah.
I Bleav he is, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's on par with them, sure.
Yeah. So what's the issue?
No, I agree with all that. I'm saying I think Woj also said that they want to take whatever assets they get from the Harden and flip for another all-star guard. That would, I guess, be the unfinished part of it.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, though. I mean, like, you know better than us, Eric. Like, what are like right now? It's not the best time to trade for.
I mean, it's never really a bad time to trade if you have teams that are willing to trade.
Yes,
that's what it's about. So if teams are willing to trade and they want to get a deal done, it's never really a bad time. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the Clippers and Harden, there's a connection, and Harden wants to be there, and I think the Clippers want him there. It's a matter of how do we get it done. So I don't think that the timing is bad. I think the timing is worse as it creeps into the season. So I think these teams are like, let's get it done. Well, we have what's today? 10 days before before the Sixers first game is 12 days? 12 days before then. You want to bring somebody in, you want them to at least get a 5 days to a full week of camp. And then the season will be their camp also.
Yeah.
The first few weeks will also be the camp.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's really about April and May. So the earlier you can get that, as you all say, finished product, the better. But we can't be talking about we want to win a championship, but then we don't really know if we're the finished product and all that. We don't even know what we're doing. Like, come on, we're talking about two different directions here.
Yeah. I mean, I'm slowly watching that window close for the championship this year, though. If Harden, we don't know what's going to happen with that.
Is the goal the championship, or is the goal just for this team just to get to the Eastern Conference Finals? I mean, I think if we do just get to the Eastern Conference Finals at the end of the season, we're saying this is a successful season.
I mean,
right?
obviously, in order to win a championship, that second goal would be accomplished.
Right.
So ultimately, I believe every team is going into the season, even though we know that's not going to happen for some teams. But that has to be your end goal. That's how you have to prepare.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you prepare for less than that right now. I mean, as the season goes, and you can tell when teams aren't preparing for that because they make adjustments and how they play guys and their rotations. You can tell kind of what they're playing for. But you just never know if you get in there what can happen. I mean, we've been number one season, didn't win, so you just want to get in there. I mean, Miami has what was Miami last year? They the AC.
Yep.
There you go. We had an AC get to the finals.
Yeah, you just never know.
No.
Also interesting, too, that this is the second or third report that we are looking for an all-star level guard. That's like the third time it's been posted.
You mean instead of wing?
Yeah, just going for a guard. I just think that's an interesting. I guess I don't know. Do they not feel that Maxey can be the guard? I mean, or they think it's more attainable to get a guard than rather get a wing? I mean, I don't.
Unless there's someone in free agency next year who's a wing that they think they can get.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a guy that's going to be a free agent that they want to re-sign. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know those. That's Teja's thing to figure out who's a free agent and all that stuff and who we can get. It's some all-star. Is it an all-star guard or all-star? Someone that's been an all-star or all-star caliber? I mean, someone that's close to being an all-star, all-star numbers compared to other guys that have been all-stars. We don't know. But at the end of the day, it's really about how they view Maxey. Do they view Maxey as a guy that's going to play primarily off the ball or on the ball? I don't know. I don't know, especially with the new coach and the new system. I really don't know how they view him going forward. I think if we figure that out, or we kind of see that as the season starts, that would help me kind of narrow down some examples of who they could probably get.
Yeah.
I think somewhere in the Levine-ish range.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Zach for a while. Like, he is. Yeah. I think he's the perfect complement.
Same here.
What we're looking for. I've heard Chicago could move him. I just think it'll take a lot.
That's a good example of a team that might be just waiting for the season. We're good with where we're at right now. Let's see how the season goes. And after like a month, if they're underperforming and it's time just to part ways, then they could be like, all right, we'll take 2 firsts and a pick swap for them or something.
Yes. I could see that with Chicago. Yep, I can see that.
All right, so now we're gonna get to the quote. I'll read the quote again so you guys can get a nice fresh look at that. So James Harden talked to the media today, a little while before we got on. And he was asked if things could be repaired, and he said no. This is not even about the situation. This is in life. When you lose trust in someone, it's like a marriage. You lose trust in someone, you know what I mean? It's pretty simple. He went on to say he's here at practice and will continue to be the professional he's been for 15 years. So I'll give you guys the.
He also said other good nugget. He also said his plan when he came here was to retire a Sixer, but
the front office had different plans.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about this quote and what Harden has to say about everything?
You all know I'm pro player, right? Usually, right? You all know I'm pro player, right? If I had to take sides, I usually take the side of the player. I mean, I guess he's professional in showing up. I mean, he did do that. We won't have any issues out of camp from, at least we haven't heard anything. I haven't read anything. So from that standpoint, he's as far as playing, I don't know. I don't have any secret cameras in to look and see what he's doing as far as playing. I'm not like some people. So I don't really, I guess he is professional from that standpoint. Historically he is, been able to different situations kind of get his numbers. But as far as the relationship being over, yeah. I mean, when he said that, I was like, oh, it's no going back. He can't go back. You just don't say that and then go back on that.
A liar one, you mean? Liar comment?
Yes. All of us have relationships that somebody might have wronged us, or we could have wronged them, and you apologize, or they apologize to you, and you may forgive them, but the relationship is never really the same. You know what I'm saying? It's never really the same. Even though you've forgiven them or they've forgiven you, things are still different. You're a little more guarded in that situation. You're a little more guarded in that relationship. And that's where it's at. And I said before, when James couldn't and wouldn't back off what he said. He's not going to do it. So I'm not going to try to dig into the why and what happened. All I know is he said what he said, and based on the new rules in the league, he has to show up, and he did. So I Bleav, that being said, there's an expectation to, I'm doing my part, do yours.
Yeah. So another part, part of that question also, like, do you think it's, where do you see the challenges of, like, because can you be temporarily / partially bought in? I mean, buying in means like I'm here for this amount of time, but this whole thing sounds like I'm here as long as you're trying to trade me. So, like, one thing Woj brought up was.
Go ahead. You finish. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was saying one thing Woj said was Harden's being good right now as professional because it's understood that they're trying actively to get him out of there, but there are dead spots to trade talks, like he said, right? So, like, after maybe a week or two, like, they might cut off ties for like maybe a couple weeks. How is he going to do in those dead spots of a trade talk?
We don't know. We really don't know. But the issue is what is James going to do? But what is the Sixers going to do? Like, you going to show him all this stuff and put it into your whole system? You're going to show him your whole system? You're going to include him and start him and play him the way you're going to play him if you want him to be there all year, if you're trying to move him? So that works both ways.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. That's a really good question. But, yes, James got to buy in, but they have to buy in too. They can't make him feel like an outsider. Just like, he can't feel like he's not a part of it. So a lot of times when that happens, people tend to only focus on the player buying in, but the team got to buy in too to that same player. So that takes a lot of professionalism from both sides. But players are able to do it, especially a player on James' talent status. They're able to do it. And I've said that. I Bleav I said it this summer. James Harden is good enough of a basketball. He's a good enough basketball player to put up numbers in a situation that's not necessarily going well as far as relationship-wise, but he can still put up successful and really good numbers because of the talent that he is. I said that. He can do that. I have no issue with James getting numbers. Now, from a relationship standpoint and, all of the locker room stuff, and I think when guys are on the basketball court, I think they can work well, but it's the locker room, the travel, and all of that, spending time with people, and then all of a sudden you start forming cliques, and cliques start separating. Like, that's my concern if you don't make a move.
As a player, I'd love to ask you this too. I've been to ask you this for weeks. I keep forgetting. If you're going to have a problem, as a player, if you're going to have a problem, what's the easiest to manage and navigate? Problem with another player on your team, a problem with your coach, or a problem with the GM?
Say it again.
Say your question again. What's the easiest to kind of navigate and manage as a player? A problem with another player, a problem with your coaching, or a problem with your management?
So for me to manage, which one's easier?
Yeah. Player's perspective, sure.
I think that's sort of a tough question, because sometimes the managing usually takes something else, meaning like it's easier to manage a player if it's player management. But if it's coach player, that's a little more difficult.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like for James, I think his issue is management. But for the most part, management is almost looked at as a business decision outside of the locker room. It's not like a clubhouse decision. You know what I'm saying? Where a coach comes off as part of the clubhouse, part of the group, and he's making a decision. It seems more personal within the group when it's a coach, where management seems like it's more personal outside of the club.
Okay.
If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. So probably manager would be
the team as a group, and then the coaches is as a group that's connected to the players, but they have their own club, but those clubs are kind of connected together. Management is like there, and they're there, but you do so many things that you don't really feel like they're connected to as much, because they're more of, once your contract, everything is done, it's like they're there, but they're not really in the club. They're not really in the day-to-day. So a player that has issues with the management isn't really, to me, as big a deal as a player that's having an issue with the coach, because that's every day right in everybody's face. Whereas management, you don't see that. You don't see it every day. You don't see most of that stuff that happened between their differences, like what James was during the offseason.
Yeah.
But now it's the coach. It's every day in practice, every day in the game, in the locker room, on the bus, in the training room. It's every day, all the time.
Yeah. So it would be easiest to feud with management,
player management,
and stay professional.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's kind of hard to just be like, if you have an issue with management, have an issue with a coach or player, it's usually somebody having an issue with somebody else. So it's usually two parties. Mm-hmm. And that's why I say player management is usually the easiest to deal with as a team and player.
Yeah, because, I mean, some players spend their entire career playing for a GM they don't like. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not that uncommon to really not like it.
But usually when you have an issue with your GM, it's usually contract related and contract related only.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But when it's a coach, it could be how he talk to you, how he play you,
yeah,
how, you know what I'm saying, like how he contradicts his words. Like, it could be all kinds of different things.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess the difference with Morey and Harden is that they have a much more personal relationship, more than most GMs and players do. So that's why it's such a big deal with them.
And James, and Morey is on record saying that James made his career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't say it exactly like that, but he said something similar to that.
Yeah, Morey said so much stuff hyping up James.
James sees that relationship differently.
So I just want to comment on your the second question you had there. I got a couple problems with what he said. The marriage analogy. Here's the problem with that. If you have a trust issue in your relationship, if you have a trust issue in your relationship, at some point, you'll talk about it with them. You may not come to the resolution you want to. You might come away going, okay, you said the reasons why you did or said what you said. I still don't think I can go on with this, right? From everything I've heard, Morey and Harden haven't spoken since like before free agency started. So they never even had a conversation to at least clear the air. So this would be like breaking up with someone without ever even talking to them. Never even like it's not even like a real fight. It's like your friend said something that she told him at a club, and then she came home and your stuff was gone.
Are you assuming that doesn't happen? People break up with people over and never talk to them again.
It's called
ghosting. Are you assuming that
you're gonna ghost your 10-year wife, 10-year like husband, 10-year girlfriend, boyfriend? Really? That's pretty like.
Well, it depends. Okay, it depends on what happens.
But never.
If it's millions involved, you may do it. If it's millions involved, you may do it. But I get what you're saying. But not everybody is talking about millions of dollars.
They'll eventually talk in court. At least they'll talk in mediation.
But most people aren't talking millions of dollars. When you talk millions of dollars, it's usually some issues.
Oh, there's definitely issues.
So if you're talking about a relationship that where you're talking millions of dollars. Trust me, I've been on that end. I know personally.
Yeah.
People will act differently. And you will not want to talk to them people anymore. Ever. I know that personally. You can feel like that.
But there are such things as like.
But it comes down to someone that you felt, and I'm not saying this is James' situation. I'm just speaking on an experience and things that I know talking to people in general. When you have a relationship with someone and you feel like you've done something for them or done a lot for them or you've helped them, and then all of a sudden that trust and that hurt is there, some things there are no repairing. Some things that you just like, man, I'm done. So sometimes you can, like you say, you can talk it out and work it out. There comes a point where you just like, there's no talking. This is it. It's over. It's over. And the other person may not feel the way the other person may not feel the way you feel, but some people, there's just a cutoff. Like some things is just like, that's it. And there's no rhyme or reason or rules on how that has to be established. But when you're done, you're done.
You're making it sound like it's a mounting like problem after problem and then cut off. You say the word cut off. That usually means after all these problems, like I'm done at this point. Yes. And Morey and Harden
some particular times it doesn't have to be a problem. It doesn't have to be previous problems. It could be something that you feel like this is what I stand on. And if this happened, I can't go backwards because this happened. This happened in my relationship. And we all know things happen in relationships. Some people, like, if you trust and all of a sudden you with someone and you find out they stole tons of money out the account and spent it doing this and that. Some people have affairs and stuff like that. They're like, done. We don't need to talk anymore. I'm done. So it doesn't have to be anything that's leading up to that. It depends on the people that are involved in it.
So as a Sixer fan, I guess we are the kids in this scenario between Mama Harden and Papa Maury, or however you want to go with that, right? Okay, so we're the kids, right? We're in the middle of all this shit.
Mama Harden.
You just say Mama Harden, man.
Well, I know which parent you're siding with, Teja.
So okay. So if I got wind and it was like Papa Daryl's like, hey man, have you gone home today? Like, nah. Well, Mama Harden's shit's all gone. I'm like, whoa, dude, what did you do? Did you talk? Like, no, she won't pick up my phone calls. And then like months go by. Because like reading the Ramona Shelburne story and a lot of stories that come out to really like break down the timeline here, they're saying there have been a lot of miscommunication and misunderstandings with this entire process from start to finish with his contract and re-signing him and not wanting to breach the rules for to get second round picks taken away again for tampering. There's been a lot of like misunderstandings. I would think, as the kid in this, at least at some point, you talk and you air it out. And going back to what you said way earlier, yes, at that point, you can, like you said, you could forgive somebody, but we can't get beyond this. I get that, but they haven't even done that part of it to even get a chance.
We don't really know because every report comes out is pro Sixers report.
Yeah, I mean,
Shelburne seems. If Woj is speaking, it's from the team. It's from the team.
I agree with that.
It's from the team.
Ramona, I'm a little more split on, though. Ramona, I'm a little more 50-50 on.
I get it. I'm just saying, but we heard James speak. So we don't have to assume about anything else. We heard him speak once, and then he reaffirmed what he said before. So we don't have to worry about any in between. He let us know exactly how he felt, and he reaffirmed it now.
He did.
So whatever happened in between is from the team. If it's not from the team, it's not what James said. He just told us how he felt twice. So there's no need to assume anything else. From his perspective, we can't assume anything else from his perspective because he's told us on two separate occasions what his perspective is. So we don't need to assume anything else about what James says or how he feels. He told us.
No. Yeah. Well, yeah, yes. I agree with that. So to formally answer that question of being temporarily bought in, and if that's possible, I think it's extremely difficult for a guy to be partially or temporarily bought in, because what Woj kind of alluded to is that it's going to really depend how bought in he is going to just depend on his daily moods and patience with the contract or not, and with the trade. And if he's not happy with how it's going, he might be a jerk that day. Maybe. Who knows? So we just don't know. So
I think that is true, but that could also be true for a guy as a free agent that they didn't give an extension to.
Maybe they were going to. We just don't know that, though.
I'm just saying it could be the same. They didn't offer Tobias a free. Tobias is telling him to go play, be a free agent. They told Maxey at the end of the day, we're going to let you play this year out. What if his numbers go down? You think they're going to offer him more money?
No. Okay,
because they've shown James how they dealt with James. They've showed you they wouldn't do that. So you would have to assume that they wouldn't do that. As a player, if you're a player and you're paying attention to it, if you go and you have a worse year, not a bad year, just a worse year than your previous year, you can't assume that they're going to give you the money that you thought you deserved the previous year based on what you're watching. So if you're Maxey or anything can happen, you got to be like somehow looking at them sideways when they be like, well, we're not going to go for you an extension right now. We want to get the free agency. You have to be looking at them a little sideways.
What I find weird about the whole thing, though, well, a lot of things, but one of the things is that Harden's really his cutoff point, as you say, is not being offered something that just hadn't happened yet. It's like if I'm throwing a huge party, right? And then I invite Marcus, I invite my friend John, I invite Frank. You call me up and you're like, because John and Frank said, well, we're going to Teja's party. You right there automatically assume, oh, I'm not invited. You call me up and you're like, dude, you didn't invite me to your party. Screw you. I'm done with you. I'm blocking you. Click. And I'm like, dude, I hadn't invited you yet. Doesn't mean I'm not going to invite you to the party. You can't not talk to me ever again because you assume I was not going to invite you. Like I was going to invite you. But you're like, no. I'm done with it. It's over. I'm like, that's my one problem. Is like, it wasn't. It's just different. I just don't think that he can do whatever he wants. Really, that's the only unreasonable part is that he's mad about something that didn't happen yet.
So based on the rules, you're assuming that they didn't speak before because no one wants to get in trouble. Is that what you're saying?
We did just get in trouble.
That's why he opted in. I'm just saying. So he opted in because he had to opt in, right?
I think he opted in because he felt panic.
His opt-in was before free agency, right? I
think he got wind of Van Fleet taking up all Houston's money and he panicked. Yes.
So that means that Houston was talking before then.
Yeah, probably. People only care when we do it, apparently. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, so if they got wind to it, that means Houston was talking before they were supposed to.
Well, that's what I don't get. I actually told Marcus this last week. I don't get something about the timeline because Udoka and Harden apparently talking had a good conversation, but he said, I want to be the number one option. When did that conversation take place? Because you're not allowed to talk to guys. So I always thought that was weird that they had this conversation, which is tampering, and they admitted to it. So I don't know why people aren't going after Houston, actually.
Well, is it considered tampering? Let's say Udoka had a conversation with Harden before he ever took the Houston job. He knew he was going to take the job. He knew Harden was a free agent. Maybe he talked to him while he was waiting on saying yes to the Houston job.
I mean, that's what they would say. That's what they would say.
Yeah. They probably did say that's why they're not going after.
Because they had a previous relationship from Brooklyn that he probably talked to him before he took the job.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what we don't know if that happened. We know that that's what they would say.
Yeah, smart. Clever.
And yeah, and I don't think the Fred deal was more of a we want him over James. I thought it was more of we want a guy that's still willing to play without the ball.
Yeah, better fit, right?
A lot of young guys that need the basketball.
Yep.
And for their development, Fred probably a better option.
Wouldn't you want the league leader for that though?
Well, it depends on how you're planning on using those young guys. That's what I'm trying to say. If they're catch and shoot guys, but if they're primary ball handlers, then no, it's going to stunt their growth.
Yeah.
Or you signing James to do something that he's not best at.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird.
So, I don't know. I do believe that somehow they had a relationship, and it was. I'm not sure we'll ever know the truth, because I think what everybody assumes would be considered right now illegal, and that's what everybody assumes.
Handshake.
So you can't say that right now. So, and I don't think they ever will right now. So we can keep on assuming that, and I think that that's what leads us to thinking, well, what wouldn't happen? What happened? Or why? How did it get to this point? The fact that it's to this point pretty much confirms to me that something happened before, previously.
Yeah.
There was some disjointed conversations beforehand.
Yeah.
I think I read that Harden got wind of their plans, but he wanted the phone call from Morey personally.
I mean, but not extending Maxey also confirms some things.
Definitely,
that makes it very clear, because
2024 plans for sure.
Yeah, but based on like what you've always said, like it was always Tobias was like, you and your people have been talking about moving him for 2 years now. You couldn't wait till this year.
I also said, not my people, but me.
Hey. All I'm saying is
said,
your people couldn't wait to this year.
Yeah.
Because you just knew we were going to move Tobias.
I also said, though, if you kept him through all this stuff and maybe he'll sign like a Harrison Barnes type deal when he's a free agent, 18 mil per season. That would be amazing too. I'd love Tobias in that contract. Love it. And maybe he will. Maybe he will sign. Maybe they can talk him into signing a more team-friendly deal so they can get this guy and this guy signed, you long-term. Let's do it, baby. We'll see. Or he could be gone in 2 months. No one's shocked.
I guess we'll have to wait for that ESPN documentary in 20 years at the end of Daryl Morey and James Harden's relationship.
Who would have thought this would be like rivaling some of like the previous storylines in this whole process Embiid era, man? This is it's crazy, man. It's really it's been a wild ride.
This will be its own documentary. That's all, or we'll have to wait for someone's book to come out on actually what happens behind the scenes. Yeah. Okay, so talking about the trade and making deals. So there's been a lot of talk about Terrence Mann not being on the table in any deal, and also how the Clippers do not want to give up any second first-round pick, hence them calling around the league to gauge the value of their one pick they are offering us. The question is, would you rather have Terrence Mann or another first-round pick included in the deal?
Good question.
Go ahead, Teja.
You want to go first? Okay. I think it depends on if we want help for this season or future seasons. This season, if you're going by current season, I'd rather have Mann. He helps us become a better team. If we're talking about management doesn't even believe that we're in a place where we can really win a championship, they'll never say this out loud, but really win a championship this year. And the plan, they're hardcore committed to that 2024 cap space plan, than the draft pick. I just think there's a lot of people out there that don't even believe that we want Mann's $10 million on the hook after this season because we'd rather have the open space. If we're committed to that plan, I'd rather have the pick because, to be honest with you, this might break some hearts, but Mann does not make us a championship contender. He doesn't move the needle enough this season to make us not have that first-round pick asset for future trades for future seasons.
I mean, I think it just depends on the whole package. You have to see what the whole package is.
But if they were like, here, expirings, Eric, first-round pick in 2028, and you can choose between 2030 first or Mann.
I mean, if we're still trying to win, I'm talking about right now. I mean, I think you need to do all that you can to have Joel's best years give you the best chance to win. I just can't see how we can be talking about the future and you got an MVP candidate right now. We talk about the future. Like, we got to try to win with this guy.
I know. So you're going Mann first.
I understand the future is important too, but it's also important to get a generational talent and try to win a championship with them.
Yep. But you said years, plural, though. So that's not just this year. It's for his rest of his 4 years under contract. So
yeah, I'm saying during his years, like, did you have him in his best basically span of playing the game? You have to try to win. Like, you look at what Milwaukee's doing. They know Giannis, especially the way he plays, like he's not going to be able to maintain that for the next 10 years. So everybody's not LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's only one of those guys. Mm-hmm. So you have to be able to maintain some form of upper level team management to try to continue to try to win as you have that guy.
Yeah.
When you have that guy, you got to do it. Like the Mavericks got Luka. Like, they got that guy. So you got to try to do it right now.
I'm assuming Morey knows the teams he wants to call once he gets these assets for Harden. I think he knows the players he was going after and the teams he's going to make calls to. I'm also assuming that he knows at this point, he's had a lot of time to talk about to these GMs about this. He knows what it will take to get that player out of that team. And he's trying to get that out of the Clippers. So if he thinks it's better off with Mann and we can just include him in the next deal, sure. Or another pick, then sure.
How long do we have to wait if let's say we get this deal done within a week or two? We would have to wait till what, like January or December to trade Mann?
That depends if they want to allocate it or not. So if once they make the trade official at the Drew Holiday, then we have to wait. Because you can't allocate salaries with him, right? So it'd have to be like a straight up, and I don't think that would be. I think we would have to add in a bunch of guys into that deal to get a Levine or whoever. Then we'd have to wait. But if we have a deal set with the Clippers, then I think we can call someone else to be like, hey, I have the Clippers giving me 28, pick swap, and Terrence Mann. Does that get me Zach LaVine? Yes. Okay, well, let's make this a three-way deal. They could do that. I don't think that happens.
Yeah.
I think if we get Mann, we sit on Mann for a good portion of the year, maybe even all of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first and Mann is a little of both. Is a little bit of future and a little bit of trying to win right now, too. You get the best of both worlds.
Yeah. And who knows, if Mann blossoms and he's like, holy shoot, this is exactly what all Clippers management and fans wanted him to be his entire time, maybe you keep him for that 9-10 million. It's his bargain at that point, and then you get someone else. Like, okay, we have another hole filled. Now we need to get so-and-so to fill in the other hole. Who knows?
Yeah. It's a bargain. You hear this guy, Eric? It's a bargain at that. All right, so a final topic here. Let's get into some of the basketball talk. So preseason has begun. We've played the Boston Celtics twice. So, starting this year, the same way we ended last year. We lost the Celtics twice, once by 8 and other by 11. I've seen some fans, not that many, to be quite honest with you, some fans being outraged by us losing to the Celtics and just continuation of losing to them. But do you think this is a real metric of where we are, Eric, or is this just these meaningless preseason games?
I mean, it's to a certain extent, it's a metric. I mean, usually the start of the game or the first quarter, but it's hard. I mean, guys aren't playing the regular minutes. I mean, they've already cut the preseason games in half from when I played. I mean, they just go straight to the season. Guys aren't playing. Just go straight to the season. I mean, it's almost like I don't even watch preseason games, man. I don't even watch them. I don't know if you guys do, but I tried to watch. I watched the first quarter, and I was like, man, what is this? I'd rather watch practice than watch.
It was Hauser jacking up threes is what it was for Boston.
I don't do the preseason games. College football got it the best. Start right when start the regular season right away.
Yeah. Do they do obviously the NFL they have preseason, but they also do the inter squad scrimmages. Do they do that in the NBA? Are there inter squad like preseason scrimmages there's Boston, like Philly do like a little
another team?
No. Yeah. No. Interesting.
They may do it like if two teams happen to be like traveling overseas for a tournament, they may have something like that.
Okay.
But it's technically not permitted because you're only allowed 8 preseason games. I mean, 8 or whatever 4 preseason games. Everybody's supposed to be allotted the same amount of preseason games.
Oh, so it'd be like an unofficial preseason game, though. Okay.
Yes. That's what it is. It just doesn't have a crowd.
Yeah. It's like a bubble game. I kind of agree with you on that. I think the only metric it shows us, not that it's evidence, but I didn't need to see those games to know that we're a step below Boston. Yeah, I don't, we're both missing key players, Brown, Tatum, Embiid, Harden. We're not on their level. And I don't think the preseason game where, guys are getting bench players are getting like 30 minutes a game. No, that doesn't show me that, but I do like seeing certain guys contribute in certain ways. Oubre looked pretty good.
Yep.
Maxey looks like prime for another jump. I think individually you get to see where, and correct me if I'm wrong, Eric, I think if anything, preseason shows you maybe a little more of like what some of these guys worked on and what they're like, off season, like, goals are, and we see like what Maxey worked on the off season, what Reed worked on the off season, trying to shoot more threes, shot 2 threes.
I think it's really about taking how you're practicing and putting it in the game form. Working on whatever you're trying to do and being able to see if you can execute it in the game from a team perspective. Individually, you give guys a real live game setting of what's coming. So there's no way to plan for a real game except to play a real game. So, I mean, that's what it is. But it's, to judge on how a team's going to look in the preseason, I don't know. I mean, I guess, like I've always been told, people say that preseason don't matter. But if you lose and then you lose when the season starts, they'll bring up the preseason.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yep.
It's totally different players playing. I remember the Lakers let Mike Brown go 4 or 5 games into the season. They were like, he lost 8 games in a row, whatever, because they counted the preseason games.
Oh, man.
That's funny.
So losing always matters, no matter what it is. But they say the preseason no matter. But I just don't know how you can say we can get a feel for this team if Joel doesn't play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Danny
Green also looked good.
Yep. I was gonna say that. There's one highlight I saw because I watched the first half of both games. There's a highlight though. Danny Green stole a ball, threw a bomb to Kelly Oubre in the corner, knocked down 3. It was a nice play. That was the highlight play that I saw while watching the second game.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Then Oubre said before the game was Drew Hanlon was working with Embiid, doing a little practice before the game. Hamlin just mentioned to Oubre, like, hey, square your shoulders up on your shot. I saw in the first game your shoulders weren't squared up. He said he corrected that, and then I think he went 4 for 4 from 3.
4 of 6.
4 for 6.
Good though.
3. Yeah, he looks great. I think he's gonna be a good addition for the squad this year.
And maybe that's why we're not going after a wing in the trade.
Maybe.
I'm kidding.
Ubre's a future.
I mean,
I don't know, man. Whatever, man.
It's preseason.
Ubre's only 27, by the way. It's not like he's okay.
Oh, like he can play. I thought he was a good pickup for us.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we gotta go, at that position, you gotta go guard Tatum and Brown and Giannis and Jimmy and all that.
Yeah.
So you can square up your shoulders guarding them dudes. That's what it's gonna come down to. No, I'm just saying, like, it's gonna be knock down some shots, but it's about stopping them dudes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I get it. He'll be great. Kelly, he scored 20 points a game. He can score the ball.
Yeah. Shoulders are not.
I don't know how many shots he's gonna get us. I mean, because we got Joel, we got Maxey, we got James on his replacement, and we got Tobias that said that the offense is free flowing and he's going to be more aggressive.
Yep.
What is that quote? It was something like that, right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know where Kelly I don't know where all these other shots gonna come from.
Where does that leave us? Like 12 shots after that?
Where all these shots gonna come from, man?
You like
PJ's gonna get his normal 4 to 6 3-corner threes.
Mm-hmm.
Melton's gonna get some shots.
Yep. Melton's looking for his next contract, so he'll be taking some shots.
Paul Reed's gonna get some shots up too.
Yeah, he wants to shoot threes now.
Oh yeah,
He's gonna shoot threes.
Yeah, got the green
Hasn't been
light.
shooting threes in the preseason. Hasn't
Yeah,
been shooting in the preseason.
Yeah,
Is he making them?
I think he's 0 for 3 or 4.
yeah.
But,
You'll get there. It's preseason. You'll get there.
I think he attempted more in 2 preseason games than Simmons did his entire career in Philly, so that's a good start.
Yeah, Paul Reed.
What Ben got to do with this, man?
Paul
Ben
Reed.
don't have
Paul Reed.
anything to do with this, man.
We're talking about attempting threes. I happen to think of Ben.
What does that do with this, man? I would love for Paul. I would love for Paul to average 16, 6, and 6.
Yes, so would I.
Okay.
Sure.
You can't compare him to Ben Simmons then.
Just the attempted shots.
Okay.
Just the attempted shots.
All right. I'm just saying.
Paul Reed actually made he was another Sixer to make a comment about Doc since our last show.
Who was?
Paul Reed. He was another Sixers guy to make a comment about Doc. It was a subtle comment, but it was another subtle little dig. He said last season, if I was taking threes, I probably would have played for like 10 games. Wouldn't have played for like 10 games. They would have benched him for 10 games, he said, if he shot threes. Saying how this nurse is telling him to shoot threes now.
Yeah, I don't understand why that's a difference in coaching philosophy. That doesn't make a coach wrong.
Yeah.
Especially if you're starting out 0 for 4 in the preseason, right? That's not. I'm not saying that to.
No, I know. I just found it funny though.
I'm not making fun of them, but I'm just saying, like, you make that comment and then you start now 0 for 4. Like, that's why you just don't make the comment. Just play.
True.
I mean, you make a comment and you may prove Doc right. So just be careful what you say.
Yeah.
Tell you what, with all the comments our guys have said about Doc, it's gonna
we gotta win a championship, man. Since Doc is gone, the nurse is in there. I said it before. I'm expecting a championship the way we talking, man.
Well, that and Sixers fans better expect the criticism when we have
Doc's
games on
not
ESPN.
in there. Nurse is in there, and he was in there. He got his championship, and look,
trying different things.
We gotta win.
Yeah,
free, Doc. They got rid of once we got rid of Doc.
Yeah,
since he was the problem.
That's it.
Doc's gonna get us good when we have games on ESPN. He's gonna say some stuff, and Sixers fans gonna be very upset about him saying stuff too.
He was okay. They asked him. He was on a show, ESPN, recently. I don't think he said him anything bad things. It
was particularly just about James Harden, though. It was just about his.
He still could have said bad things.
Yeah.
He didn't. He didn't.
Yeah.
He's going to be professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. He will be.
He's going to show up and be professional.
Yeah, he will. Yep. Yeah. Doc's classy, man. He's a classy guy.
He's classy. But all right, guys. Well, that does it for us. Thanks for tuning in to Bleav in 76ers. We'll see you guys next week. Next week's our last show before the season begins. So you know what that means? That means we're going to be doing some season statistic predictions for next week's episode. So
I like.
Looking forward to that.
I like.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week.